This is the LiPetri Show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hat episode featuring Rob Mannino, COO and partner of the Kulka Group. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What is up, buddy?
I am so excited to have you on here because of all that you do with the Kulka Group, your roles in development. It's amazing. We're going to hear all about some of your projects that you're working on. But on top of it, why you're joining us today is for your role as corporate walk chair of Light the Night for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which honestly, man, is incredible that you have dedicated yourself to a noble cause. But I think it's more incredible of your battle of why you even got into this in the first place. And for those of you who don't know, this guy is a great friend of mine, somebody that is near and dear to my heart, and somebody that I personally say is a real friend, somebody that's always there. So I want to say, man, it's great to have you on the show today.
No, man, I appreciate it. You're my guy. I love being here.
Yeah, and it's I want to talk to your role with as COO and partner of the Kulka Group. What is it that Kulka does? What's your primary objectives, some of your major projects, just for people to know what you're working on here on Long Island and elsewhere?
So the Kulka Group has been around for almost 50 years, man. Devin's dad started it 1974, and we've primarily been a construction management company on Long Island. We've built over 500 buildings, done over $3 billion worth of construction, and construction management, general contracting of large commercial buildings has always been our bread and butter. Over the last couple of years, we're transitioning that. Not that we'll ever be out of the general contracting game, because that is 100% our bread and butter and who we are and who we will be for a long time. But we've added in development. So we're doing our own real estate developments. We're buying our own property. We are building things like multifamily apartment complexes, industrial buildings from the ground up. And that's been a big part of our new business model and where we're heading moving forward. And the last couple of years have been really, really exciting to be a part of that and be a part of this movement.
Yeah, what's some of your projects that you're working on currently?
So we have a couple different construction projects. We're doing some industrial buildings. We're doing some self-storage buildings. We ourselves are developing four different properties. 3 of them are multifamily properties. We're doing one in Riverhead, 133 units that we're hoping to get site plan approval for very soon. We're doing 55 units in East Patchogue, which we have site plan approval, hoping to get final site plan approval very, very soon, break ground on that this year. We just won an RFP last year for 100 units in Central Islip, and we are currently working on another industrial building, about 130,000 square feet, all of which we are general partners on. And we're kind of taking it from start to finish, buying the property, going through the design process, and going to build it ourselves.
Where's that 130,000 industrial building?
That is in Hauppauge.
Hauppauge.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's going to be – and what I didn't realize is Hauppauge, it's incredible to see how Suffolk County has such a strong industrial population in the sense of all the different industries that are here. And they just keep needing more and more and more.
Yeah, the Hauppauge Industrial Park, which is now the Long Island Innovation Park at Hauppauge. They just rebranded it a few years ago. It's the second largest industrial park in the country.
That's incredible.
Second behind only Silicon Valley. So we have some of the largest companies in the world that are based here. Although it was a little bit older of an infrastructure, it was built a while ago, and some of this needs to kind of be revamped. They've been putting a lot of pieces in place to kind of revitalize a lot of this area. And the goal over the next, let's say, decade or two is to kind of mix this with like a live, work, play type of environment inside the industrial park, where they're going to add some workforce housing. They're going to add some places where you could walk to and eat and this. And that's really the vision, and that's really what they've been promoting. And they've actually had some zoning changes here recently to increase that development. But it's huge, man. It's massive, and people don't realize it.
I never even realized that it was second to Silicon Valley. Like, that's all you hear about, Silicon Valley, Silicon Valley, Silicon Valley. And for me, I always said Long Island is the mecca of great brains, great work effort, great minds. I mean, it's incredible, and the ideas are all flowing here on Long Island. So for me, I'm saying, forget Silicon Valley. why aren't they here? And why aren't we attracting more and more and more to come here?
Yeah, we have a huge talent pool already. I mean, massive companies have been here for several years. But I think the idea is to kind of create this environment and this atmosphere where more people want to come. We attract more talent, more businesses, and that's kind of there's a lot of work that has to be done in order to do that. Like
yeah.
It needs to be. It needs to be desired. It needs to be livable. It needs to be something that attracts young people, and I think that's where they're working towards. But yeah, it's a great place, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And this industrial building, now you have all these different multifamily units, 133 units in Riverhead, 55 units East Patchogue, 100 units in CI. Are all those locations strictly apartment units?
So those are all mixed-use buildings, right?
Mixed use.
Yeah, so we'll have retail on the bottom with apartments going up above. Riverhead is a great one. That's downtown.
Yeah.
Riverhead is like going through this massive revitalization. Very, very exciting what's happening in Riverhead. A lot of development going on.
Right.
A lot of beautiful buildings by other developers that are going up that are just gorgeous. And it's really, the whole area is changing. I'm really excited about what's happening in Riverhead.
And what's part of this industrial building now with the 130,000 hot pot? What's like the game plan for that?
That's still very new. There's no end user. We're still kind of going through the motions there and kind of getting site plan.
Okay.
But yeah, that's an exciting one as well.
I think that's awesome that you guys are involved in that. Anything, do you do strictly Long Island or elsewhere as well?
So primarily and historically, we've been a Long Island-based company. We do build in the boroughs. We've built in Jersey. We've built other places. But lately, we've been very, very attracted to things that are happening out of state. Out-of-state development is very attractive to us because we can get in the ground a lot faster. Sometimes things just don't move as fast here on Long Island.
Yeah.
So if you go to places like Dallas or even places in Florida, these things happen way faster. You know, you're getting building permits in just a couple months, and obviously that's very helpful when you're investing.
How long is the timeline here on Long Island?
Long, man. So Riverhead, we've been working on for a little over 24 months. So
Damn.
yeah, a little over 2 years.
Just for that permitting process?
Well, you got to go through your site plan, right? So you
Right.
got to we've been through a couple different rounds of designs and how we wanted it, how the local municipalities want it. You want to kind of work together. It's very collaborative in that manner. But it goes back and forth. You try to figure out how many units you can get there, what the site plan, what the footprint's going to look like. There's a lot of things that go into it as far as zoning goes, and it's a tough process to kind of submit yours, get your answers back, and then kind of regroup and resubmit again. It's just it's definitely a strenuous process for sure.
Yeah, I know the island was looking to try to expedite the process to allow building, but I don't think many people recognize the process in of itself to go about building all these different units and structures, specifically whether it be industrial or multifamily.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I myself, I learned a lot during the processes of doing some of these things early on. Like early in our career, we were kind of learning the processes, and it's definitely extensive. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to figure out. There's a lot of resources and a lot of help out there, but it's definitely time consuming for sure, especially here on Long Island.
Yeah, and you put your time and effort into everything. I find it fascinating how you even have time to do anything else. I mean, with yourself and your commitment to your family and your kids. Always helping them with what lacrosse was it, or baseball, or hockey?
You name it, man.
I mean, you name it.
Three
man.
boys, we play everything.
God bless you,
we
man.
are a sports household.
Sports household is an understatement. I mean, especially also your commitment with helping with the websites and all different background behind the scenes for each of these teams to help them grow and cultivate. Which is, kudos to you, buddy. I mean, I think a lot of people, they look at it as the work is just consumes everything, but you still manage to find that time to commit yourself to your personal life and for your family and kids.
Yeah, I try to. I'm lucky. I'm really lucky to have Devin as a partner. Devin Kulka is great, man. He's always been very understanding of the work-life balance, and he's one of those guys. And he just had a baby recently, but before that, he was out 3, 4, 5 nights a week sometimes.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't always do that because I had games, I had this, so to have that partnership where he was understanding of that, and I was able to go to my kids' soccer games, deck hockey games, lacrosse games, whatever it might be. I was always able to do those things while he was out doing those things at night, and we were able to kind of balance that partnership. It's been great. I feel like I'm kind of in for it as his kids get a little bit older, baby Slade was just born, and as he gets a little bit older, he gets into those sports. I feel like I'm going to be the one kind of flipping roles.
Right.
But it's been a great balance so far, and he's been really understanding of all that.
Well, that's how come the Kulka Group is burgeoning, my friend, is because you have that great partnership. You bounce off of each other and always there for each other. And I think, speaking of which, it's a good segue to really talk about being there for you and what you're doing, because I want people to hear about your story about why you became corporate walk chair of Light the Night for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And, I mean, looking at it's 2023 now, but this all started really, 3 years ago?
Over 2 years ago.
2 years ago
was 2020-ish, right? 2019.
It was like that
late 2019, early 2020 when I started finding all this stuff out.
3 years, man. Yeah. So what happened? It's December of 2019.
Yeah.
And was it early December, right before Christmas time period?
So, yeah, probably like November-ish. I woke up one day, and my kid starts asking me why my face looks funny, right? So it turns out I had like a weird Bell's palsy thing going on where half my face got paralyzed. And as I was going through some tests and going through some things, about a month later, Christmas Eve, I found out through a report on my Northwell app that I had a specific mutation, a JAK2 mutation, which in 90% of the cases leads to or is a sign of blood cancer. So I found out on Christmas Eve that I had blood cancer.
What kind? Do you know what you got diagnosed with? Is blood cancer?
Yeah, so it's called essential thrombocytosis, right? And what that means is it's essential thrombocytosis and polycythemia vera. And what that means is I overproduce, and the primary thing is I overproduce platelets. So my platelet count just continues to climb, and my body never tells anything to stop, right? So because of that, it makes my blood very thick. And when your blood thickens, there's numerous complications, but more so than anything else is really things like heart disease, and they're concerned for your heart and your cardiac system because they feel like you might have a heart attack or a stroke or something like that because your blood gets so thick.
Right, you can't pump that blood throughout your system.
Yeah.
And you never had anything like this growing up.
No.
Nothing like this. Just as you age, it's mutated to what this came to be.
Yeah, and really, dude, I got very lucky. Like I didn't, there was no real sign of it, and one actually has nothing to do with the other, which is crazy. And I know I've told this story so many times to so many people, and not everyone understands that my face and what happened with my face and the Bell's palsy is just what led to me getting all the tests.
Oh, those weren't related?
But the doctor does not see any correlation, or there's no reason to believe why the two are actually linked. They're not 100% sure, but they said they've never really seen a case where the two are linked, and they feel like one just led to the discovery of the other, and they're not necessarily related.
So you're telling me that this freak accident led you to this discovery randomly?
Yeah, which is crazy.
Have you ever thought about that as a sense of a sign from someone bigger that kind of saying, like, isn't that I don't know, for me, like, I always look at something where sometimes there's no such things as coincidences. And I don't know, did that ever cross your mind?
So I've never really been a very spiritual person, but having gone through everything that I've been going through over the last couple of years, there have been a number of things that led me to believe and have changed the way I think a little bit. And I definitely believe everything happens for a reason, whatever that reason might be. And I do believe that there was something sort of higher power somewhere, whatever it might be, some sort of spirit
it's just too crazy coincidental
power that led to this happening and me going through these tests, because I wasn't really a doctor guy, dude. Like, I wouldn't go to the doctor a lot. I didn't have a lot of reasons to go to the doctor. But your face stops working, right? It scares the crap out of you, right?
Yeah,
like, it scares me, right? So,
yeah, I don't, especially around Christmas, no less.
Yeah, just in general, right? Like, what the hell's going on, right? Like, I started smiling. Like, you should see pictures. Like, you remember.
I remember.
Like, and I still have it going on a little bit, but there was a time where, like, I'd smile and, like, my face would just be over here.
Yeah.
And it was scary. It was really scary. So that led me to going through all this, going through the test, like, made it so I wouldn't stop, because every time I looked in the mirror, I was reminded, like, go figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And it was just one thing after the other. I couldn't really figure it out. And then coincidentally, or whatever you want to say, they ended up finding this, and which kind of led to a whole nother realm of
fear and scare.
Yeah.
And, concern. So what happens to you now in December? You get this diagnosis. what does that mean? I mean, so many people, they immediately get diagnosed with something so much more innocent, and they panic. Now this is something that's, I mean, when you hear the words cancer, immediately just a panic goes right through your heart. So how did you respond to this?
I was probably obnoxiously upbeat and optimistic about it because I feel like I kind of worked through this with a smile on my face. I don't think I missed one day of work through this whole process. Like I was always just going, right? I just always kept my mind rolling. But there were definitely moments where I just was like, you're nervous of the uncertainty. You're nervous of, what is all this? What don't you know? I did a great job keeping my mind off of it 99% of the time. But when I slipped into that 1% where I was really kind of thinking through it, there was a short period of time that it was really scary. It was really uncomfortable. It was just things you just don't know what you don't know, and trying to research it and you don't know what to believe.
We're gonna do WebMD that? I mean, come on.
And you don't get good there's not a lot of good resources out there. My doctors during the holidays were not very responsive. All I knew was my doctors, quote unquote, wanted to see me right away, and then I went to try to get a doctor's appointment. They're like, they want to see you right away, but we'll call you after Christmas. And it's like, okay, they call me after Christmas, and they set an appointment for like 3 weeks out. And it was scary. So I'm trying to keep my mind off it. I'm going through the process. I'm looking up some things. Devin, again, he was like a madman. Like he told me what I had before anybody else told me what I had. Like he just kind of figured it out. Like because he was just like in like a black hole of research, and like he became Dr. Kulka.
Yeah.
But he figured it out and kind of started pointing me in the right direction. But it really wasn't until I got in touch with Leukemia Lymphoma Society, right? So Megan Doyle of Leukemia Lymphoma Society, great friend of mine.
Shout out Megan.
Love her. So oddly, Devin had been involved with them for years prior with really no connection at all. Just something he knew he was passionate about, knew he wanted to be involved in, did a ton for the organization, and was always very involved. And, because of that arm's length, I was somewhat involved. Like, I'd show up to different events. I'd support it. Nothing like Devin was doing or what I'm doing now. But he always knew it meant something. And talk about no coincidences and everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
For the 3-4 years prior, Leukemia Lymphoma Society was like a major focus for Devin. And when this all happened and it all led up to this, he had sat me down and he told me that there are no coincidences, and everything he had done up until this point with zero connection and no reason or he had thought about it and never really knew why. He said this was the why. This is the reason I was completely involved in this for no reason. We didn't know why. This is why. And he got me in touch with the right people, and then Megan took it over, and they just kind of started going like crazy, finding out everything they could for me as soon as I made that phone call. So I made a call to Megan. The next day I was on the phone with Dr. Oscar LaHood. Love him. Memorial Sloan Kettering. Dr. LaHood, shout out for everything that he does.
Definitely, Doc.
Everything he does for me, everything he does for everyone. He's such a great man.
Memorial Sloan Kettering he is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So spent 2.5 hours on the phone with me, dude, for real.
Wow.
I remember on
what point was this in? Now we're in January 2020?
Very early January 2020.
January, February-ish, okay.
Yeah, no, it was really January 4th.
Oh, wow.
It was real,
right after, man.
Yeah. So I found out on Christmas. I had an appointment at my other doctor third week of January, and I got sick of waiting. And
there's no way you can wait. Are you kidding me?
And I wanted answers, so I had called Megan that first week of January, and she got me on the phone with Dr. LaHood the next day, and he just sat there and he just kind of explained everything to me. And then this unmanageable, unimaginable situation just became so much more digestible after I spoke to him. He just kind of explained to me exactly what was going on with my body, exactly what to expect. He told me at the time, I caught it. It's very slow progressing. This is before he even saw me. Very slow progressing, very manageable, very maintainable.
How did he know that?
He had saw my results. I had sent over everything to him from my previous doctor.
Okay.
So he had saw the results of what it was. He had saw my levels. He had already kind of seen everything I hadn't met him yet.
And just like that, just by looking at it, he can already know.
Yeah.
Like this was something that can be caught. This is something that we can attack and eliminate.
Exactly.
Wow.
And he told me, in 99% sure or 90% sure this is what it is and this is what you could expect. Having said that, I want you to come in and do more tests. And then when, more tests, I didn't realize what more tests meant. I mean, I'm cranking out like 35 vials of blood in a sitting.
Way.
Oh yeah, they were just testing everything. But they tested everything. They ruled a lot of things out. I did a bone marrow biopsy, which was pretty crazy. I've never really.
What does that even consist of?
They numb you up. They put a needle in your back.
Like that's the big needle that draws?
And they take bone marrow out of so I don't know. I didn't look, but I just know it was. I know everyone said it was real tough, and I felt a lot of pressure, and I just kind of like let it take its course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy, and it was amazing throughout the process, like that uncertainty I had, and those tough feelings I had, and the scare that I had. And once I got in touch with Leukemia Lymphoma Society, who had always talked the talk, right? You sit at these meetings, you sit at these events, and you hear how much they do for everybody. Mm-hmm. You hear people come up there, and you hear them say, how much they've affected people's lives, but you don't really know until you feel it. Like I didn't anyway. Like until I experienced that level of support, right? Like I'm talking 12 hours later, I had every answer I was seeking that I could possibly get at that point. I had this great doctor who was there and like, here's my cell. I could text them anytime I want. And I had people calling me every couple days from Leukemia Lymphoma Society, saying, do you need anything? Do your kids need anything? Do your family need anything? What could we do for you? Anybody you could call. And it wasn't this is our routine check. This was like a genuine phone call from real people who really, really cared. And it felt really good. Like it just felt good to know that I had that support for whatever I needed. And they really were there for me. And
from that January 4th initial call that you had, how long afterwards did you have those tests conducted? Those 34 vials, the bone marrow.
It was over the next couple of weeks. That's
what I'm saying. By the end of January, like that was like not even into really like February, March. Like that's quick, man.
It definitely led into probably like the February time frame, and I probably started my medication like March time.
But within 60 days.
We figured it out. I felt like I was on track. I felt like now I have something that is not curable. It's not curable. I have it for the rest of my life, but it is manageable and maintainable. And I felt like we had control of it very quickly.
So after that, now you hit that March time period. Did you have to undergo chemo? What's the treatment from it after you identify? And now they confirmed it's a specific type of blood cancer. What's the treatment that was going into it?
So I will say this. I feel very fortunate, and I know that my path was way easier than others because they have to go through those chemo treatments, and you see what a toll that takes on their body. Luckily for me, I take my chemo in the form of a pill, hydroxyurea. It's a pill that I take every day for the rest of my life, but I take it every day in the form of a pill, and it's
like a microdosing almost of chemotherapy. Because
Yeah,
I didn't even know that it was possible, which is fascinating.
Neither did I, right? Neither did I, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to botch the explanation of it. But apparently, one of the early forms of chemo was this treatment.
Interesting.
And I take, I think, 500 milligrams every day, in the form of a pill.
Yep.
And it just maintains my platelet levels and my blood levels. So now it was started off every month, and it started every 3 months. And now every 3 months I go see Dr. Lahoud. He continues to maintain and monitor my blood to make sure that my levels aren't spiking in either direction. But so far, I've been very fortunate that pill has been able to maintain it. Yeah.
That is incredible, buddy. And so these follow-ups, 3-month follow-ups, so quarterly follow-ups essentially, just shy of it. But those are that's what you're doing forever, in perpetuity?
Yeah, they space them out a little bit, right? It used to be like a very, very religiously I had to be there. It was once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month. Now it's every 3 months, maybe at some point it becomes every 6 months.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Over time, it will be decreasing.
Yeah, I don't know that
just
it'd
to
go much.
manage.
I don't think it'd ever go much longer than that. Like they always want to keep a very close
Yeah.
eye on it. Like I don't think it'll ever be like a see you next year thing kind of thing.
Okay.
But over time,
I
theoretically.
think that's great,
Yeah.
man. The fact that you've done that and you've just maintained such a positive attitude with saying that you're going to tackle this, you're going to get past this, and it's going to work out. And I think that type of mindset, it's crucial to your body and to your health. To have that optimist mindset as opposed to the pessimist, because I truly believe your mindset will either enable you or disable you. And for you, it's clearly enabled you to conquer and overcome this blood cancer, which is very, very difficult mentally and emotionally.
I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like logically it's very easy to stay optimistic when you think about
How? Yeah, for people that are battling the same type of cancer or others, how do you maintain that positivity? How do you maintain that optimism? What do you do with your mind, with your family, with your kids?
So I feel like for me, I just stayed very, very busy, but I always realized and recognized that it always could be worse. Everything could be worse, right? And in mine, I really do wholeheartedly believe, like, for me, that's a very easy statement because it's very, very clear to me, and I think everyone, like, this could have been so much worse, right? Like, because you see it firsthand of people that get diagnosed with different types of blood cancers, that their bodies go through so much more because of the treatments that they have to undergo. So for me, I realized very fast and very quickly that it could be so much worse. I have a good friend, Dave Wometz, who was the owner of Urban Air, who, when I first got diagnosed, was there for me because he had very recently, maybe a year or two prior to that, or it could be longer, I don't know the exact timeline, but he had got diagnosed with leukemia. And he was going through a really, really tough battle, multiple rounds of chemo, and then afterwards got very, very sick from that chemo. And Dave had just passed about 2 weeks ago, and I had seen what he was going through and what other people have gone through, and it's tough, man. It's really, really tough what those guys go through. And I mean, ultimately, Dave ended up losing his battle. So it's very easy to see, clearly it was worse. But I owe that, and I really truly believe this. I owe that to developments and research that have been done by organizations just like LLS, whose numbers are off the chart on things that they have been a part of, and innovations they've come up with or been a part of to help treatments like this. But I owe it to them that they have developed or found a form of treatment for me that makes my journey much, much simpler. Like
to become a survivor.
Yeah.
That's who you are, man.
Yeah.
And now with this corporate walk chair of Light the Night, is this your way of giving back? Is this your way of battling to help others? I mean, you have such an amazing story, and Leukemia and Lymphoma Society was there for you to be there. What is Light the Night? What is that to start off?
So it's funny, Yaks if it's my way of giving back, I kind of feel like it's like selfish because it's like such an amazing experience for me. Like I can't tell you how rewarding it is, but basically Light the Night is the largest cancer walk that happens at night, or the only one that happens at night at Eisenhower Park in October. And it's a gathering of 5,000 people that come together and all walk with lanterns through the park, and all like actually lighting the night with their lanterns. And it happens all over the country. Leukemia and Lymphoma Society does it all over the country in all different markets, and they have thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that participate in Light the Night all over the country.
What are these lanterns? Are they any symbolism, significance?
Yep, that's a great question. There's three different colors. There's white, there's yellow, and there's red. Right? One represents someone you're honoring, right? Somebody who has battled and you're honoring. Somebody who you have lost and you're in remembrance of. And then red represents people who are survivors, and everyone carries their lantern, and it's one of the most amazing events I had ever been to prior to my diagnosis. It was like one of the most moving things I've ever been a part of, seeing all these people all at once walking and in solidarity to fight this, horrific disease. And I brought my kids there, I brought the family there, and it really, really was amazing. And to just think that 3 short years later, I'll actually be the one hosting that event on stage, talking to everyone, and kind of what has transpired to get me there is it's incredible. I could tell you that night I was standing there, I never thought I'd be the guy standing up on stage hosting it. But I couldn't be more grateful to have the opportunity and work with Leukemia Lymphoma Society to just help generate dollars that'll add to the research, which will ultimately help someone else's journey be as easy as I feel mine was.
So how do people get involved? How do they sign up? What's the roles they can play?
So it's been incredible, right? So and I thank you for all the help that you've given me already and the role that you've played. But people can get involved, and we've developed a committee, as you know, to recruit people to build teams, right? And the entire night revolves around building teams, getting your business involved, and getting your team involved to come out and in solidarity fight cancer. So the best way to get involved is by reaching out and forming a team for your company, or forming a team for your family, or forming a team for your community, all of which are things that we're doing. And you gather as many people as you can. You set a goal, whether that's 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whether it's 500, whatever it is. You set a goal, you raise as much money as you can, but more importantly, you bring everyone out to Light the Night in October, and everybody walks and everybody experiences it, and everyone gets involved, because the more people that this is all exposed to, the more that this will just kind of help the fight, help the growth of people who fight the fight. And if you want to get involved and create a team, we would love to have you. Anybody out there?
That's great, man. And they can just contact Leukemia Lymphoma Society.
Yeah,
and reach out. We could have it. Obviously, I'll have those who follow my page on Instagram, Facebook, Mike LiPetri. They'll see your profile and others to get involved and reach out.
Yeah, I mean, we even have a website that we have internally, kulkafightscancer.com, and we've dedicated an entire portion of our business to this movement and to what we're doing. Not only what's happening this year and everything that we're working towards for Light the Night, but everything that we've done in the past, everything that Devin has done, and we kind of just dedicated this entire site to our mission and our dedication to fighting cancer.
I think that's wonderful, man. I mean, kulkafightscancer.com. Make sure to go on that. Support Rob, support Devin, support Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, support battling and ending this disease. I mean, it's kudos to you, man. Your journey, and even the fact that many other people, they may disappear, but for you, it just fortifies your position in battling cancer, and you just dug your feet in and you stayed firm, man. And I that's amazing to see.
It's incredible the support I've had, dude. It's incredible. So I love everyone that has been involved. I love everybody that is a part of it, and I owe a huge debt of gratitude and a big thanks to everybody who's been there every step of the way, including you.
Well, Rob Mannino, my friend, look forward to being a part of this journey and in this battle. Yep. So thank you very much for coming on and talking all about this, and I look forward to helping you in this battle to end cancer.
You are the man, bro. I love you.
Thanks, buddy.